What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Stephen Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you get around to watching this, guys. Once again, Stephen Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel. All right, guys, let's get into today's topic. Hey, look, guys, we're going one by one. I'm going through these receivers. I'm trying to get through as many as I can for you guys. Today, we're going to talk about a guy that is a physical specimen, all right? In terms of the measurables, the height, the weight, the speed, those type of things, this is a kid that when you look at this and you see him, you go, wow, this kid could be something. Who I'm referring to today and who we're going to talk about today, guys, is we're going to talk about Chase Claypool out of Notre Dame University. Listen, this is a kid that there are times that I'll admit when you watch him on film, I'm kind of like, okay, wow, like this kid's got something. And there are other times where I do see that this is a little more of a developmental piece than what I think a lot of people assume. Now, there are some interesting things that I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to go against a couple of scouts today. Zierlein and Krabs. Krabs, definitely. Krabs is one of those people that I really do respect. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't agree with their assessment on this kid. And where they see some of the weaknesses being in this kid, I actually think are his strengths. I think they got it mixed up. I think they're falling in love with this kid's physical measurements and not the film, to let the film dictate what they think. So today, guys, I'm going to take you through a few games. I'm going to take you through UGA, and I'm going to take you through Virginia Tech's games. And we're going to break down what kind of prospect is this kid. All right, y'all, let's jump into it. Field side, bottom of your screen is the flanker. What if I told you there was no penalty called on that? All right, y'all, let's talk about alignment as a wide receiver in regards to Chase Claypool. So, Chase Claypool, this is what I'll say. If you go back and you watch Notre Dame, they really lined him up all over the field, guys. I mean, you would see him lined up as a split end X receiver. You'd see him playing a little bit of the Z, that flanker. They definitely use him as a taller slot, in that Y role, that Y receiver role. They did a lot to try to match this kid up just because I think it became very obvious last season, especially against a better competition. I'm going to show you some examples from the Virginia Tech game. Teams definitely recognize that the most dangerous threat to beat you on Notre Dame's football team was Chase Claypool, and they rolled their coverages that way.
We're moving the ball effectively down the field. Book thinking about a shot downfield.
So in order to beat teams rolling their coverages so obviously, it seems like to me as if they kind of started to move him all around. Now, if you were to ask me what do you think his natural position is, I think that's where there's a little bit of some argument can be said here. I think he has the speed at, a 4.42 guy to probably play a little bit of a flanker role. You definitely can motion him and use him in motion, but I don't think that's where he's natural at, guys. To me, I think it comes down to two positions, and I wouldn't be surprised that at the NFL level, he's not utilized the way a lot of these split ends are, to where you'll see some of these guys really work that X split end tight to the formation, and then even pairing him and using him some as a tall slot. I think the argument comes down to, is he a tall slot or is he a traditional X receiver? Who knows how certain teams are going to see the kid? That's hard to say, guys. I can't predict how the Eagles might look at him compared to the Chiefs, compared to the Rams, compared to New Orleans, you know what I mean, guys? Like, those kind of things get difficult to bring light to, if you will. Me personally, if I was on the coaching staff and I was a scout looking at this kid, I would be projecting him as a traditional X receiver that has some tall slot capabilities. Maybe you could use him more in a tall slot receiver role while he's younger, if you have a proven X commodity that you're expecting this kid to maybe fill in for and take over for down the road. I could see him being utilized in that way, but I think he's an X, guys. I think he plays really well in tight spaces. I think he's really good on the boundary side. I don't think that he's horrible on the field side, guys, but I think it's a certain skill set to be able to play on the boundary side in tighter windows and tighter spaces. Because of his physical frame, I think it allows him to play in tighter spaces and use his body to box out defenders. He's not always good at that, though, guys, and that's what we're going to get into now. Now I want to talk to you guys about the particulars of the way this kid runs routes, what are some of the positives and negatives of this kid? We're going to roll into that now.
Better of Notre Dame with those running plays. Book looking for Claypool, who's covered.
All right, guys, let's talk about Chase Claypool, the route runner. So this is what I see when I look on film, guys. A big, physical kid with really good speed for a kid of that size. Running a 4.42 when you're 230 some pounds, guys, it's an impressive stat line. No doubt about it.
Over 6'4". Like that's.
I know. But Debo is a business decision, man.
This is a tough physical kid. And I got to tell you, if you were to ask me, like, Steve, what do you think his greatest asset is at this point in his career as a young man? It's his run after the catch ability. I thought he was pretty elite in that level of his run after catch ability. I think he's up there with the top prospects.
In 7, they'll throw to their best receiver. It's Claypool. Down the sideline. Claypool.
I think he's a little overhyped, guys, when we talk about vertical routes.
On defense, as Book loads and fires downfield for Chase Claypool, who goes up.
I don't think he's anywhere near as good as people like scouts like Zerline said, who works for the NFL Network. Zerline said that he thought he works back to the ball on all 3 levels. The film doesn't support that stance, guys.
Left guard, it's 1st and 10. Out of the iron is Book, set in the pocket, directing traffic.
Says that he's a contested catch specialist outside the numbers. No, he's not. He struggles at times to gain proper body positioning, and he can get boxed in instead of boxing out the defender. He doesn't sell that slanter in or out, so he ends up getting boxed in. That does happen on film with this kid a lot. I don't agree with that assessment, guys. I have to go with Kyle Krabs' assessment when it comes to his vertical routes, which is the physical traits are there. The size, the strength, the ability to get vertical. Being a 6'4" guy that's like 235 pounds who can get up 40 to 40 and a half inches on the vertical is impressive. The physical traits are there. The technical and precision that comes with knowing how to play vertically is not there yet. I agree with Kyle Krabs when Kyle Krabs basically points out that this kid's tracking on the back shoulder, it's not there yet.
They're getting like man-on-man coverage. You could throw some comebacks and things on these guys.
Deep shot for Claypool. It's up in the air.
Not that he can't go back shoulder. He's made a few plays back shoulder that really left my jaw drop because the physical aspects are there.
Book loads, fires, far sideline.
But I'm not talking about going back shoulder, guys. I'm talking about the ball going over his back shoulder and tracking it. He doesn't have it yet, guys. It's not there right now. I think where I disagreed a little bit, guys, with Kyle Krabs, who, listen, I'm a huge fan of Kyle Krabs. This guy knows football. I'm not trying to dispute that, guys. I thought he was maybe a little harsh on Chase Claypool's ability to come back to the ball, his ability to take sharper angles. I think Kyle Krabs was really unimpressed with him. I wasn't overly impressed with the young man, but I did think that he showed the abilities to play the X receiver at the NFL level. He was quite adequate at running the out route.
They fake it to Jones. They come up fire an easy pitch and catch.
Running in route.
Rotate one deep here. 1st down. Book throws the crosser. It is Claypool spinning off.
Running a post or a deep slant. He looked okay to me.
Fans making noise. Book back to pass. He's looking. It's thrown in.
Quick outs and crossers. All those type of routes, the routes you would expect your X receiver to run, I thought Chase Claypool did a good job. I just think the kid has a lot to learn when it comes to his release. He's a good hand fighter. He will not let you get your hands on him. He will knock those hands away. I thought he was really good at that. And on top of being a really good hand fighter, and by the way, there were times where he fought through and protected his rib cage beautifully. But the quarterback play at Notre Dame was just a crapshoot, guys. I'm sorry, that guy Books is horrible. He's not a good quarterback. He missed so many throws. I mean, I really think this kid's stat line would have been a lot better if he had a better quarterback. And it wasn't like his stat line was bad. He's just that talented of a player and that physical of a player. But there are some issues, guys, when you get to his release. It's not his hand fighting, just those first 3 to 4 steps he takes on his release. It's not always good. And I do notice that sometimes teams will stack him. Guys, when you stack someone, it means you're getting deep on them. You're taking away the vertical element. And then once they stack him vertically, guys, then they'll run underneath zones on him to take him out of a game. Now, the plus side to that is if a team is spending that amount of attention to do something to take this kid out of the game, other guys are going to get open. That means you're allowing a lot of one-on-one matchups across the board. And you might even be able to sneak a guy like a Miles Sanders out of the backfield and really take advantage of that, guys. So, my belief in this kid is rack, run after the catch, elite.
Four-man rush. Book backpedals, throws in the flat. Claypool.
Physical traits, elite. Route running, learning body positioning, the technicalities of the game needs serious development. Where do I rank this kid? He's not as good as a T. Higgins, guys. I honestly, I don't think he's on the, I wouldn't put him up with a Denzel Mims. I think he's behind those guys, okay? I think he's in this next tier of guys if you're talking about X receivers or big slots, okay? I think you kind of put him alongside of a Michael Pittman Jr. You know, I think you can go with Isaiah Hodgins, I think, is in this class. Isaiah Hodgins, Michael Pittman Jr., Chase Claypool. I think those guys are huddled together. I think they're late second round into the third round. I think the true value of this kid is a third round pick. If some of these kids like Isaiah Hodgins or Michael Pittman Jr. or this young man himself slips into the fourth round, guys, I think you trade up and you go get them. Because these are the kind of kids that might surprise you a year from now. Because when they get adequate coaching, when you get a guy who can actually teach them proper technique and to become more of a technician of their skill, they could be phenomenal because the one thing this kid has is the physical traits that your mama either gave it to you or you ain't got it, guys. It's just the way it is. You guys know how that works. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You can't coach. You can't teach. You either have that or you don't. And this young man has it. He does. Chase Claypool is definitely up there in those physical attributes. These are my thoughts on this young man. But you already know what I'm going to ask you. I want to know your thoughts. Where do you stand on Chase Claypool? I think if you go get a flanker receiver or one of these in-between weird slot guys that can kind of play outside but are more so suited for the slot, and you can go get you a Chase Claypool later in the draft, third round, fourth round, if he falls to the fourth round, number one, people are paying too much attention to vertical speed and his inability to track the ball. I mean, that's not a big deal to me. You can teach that. But number two, I think it's an incredible value. You go get this kind of kid. Third or fourth round, you go get him. I think if you can't get a receiver in the first round, and there's a serious run on receivers, and you're sitting there at 53, if this kid's there at 53, I think it's a slight reach. I think it's a little bit of a reach, but it's not a drastic reach for this kid. I would consider him at 53, to be honest with you guys. All right, let me know your thoughts, guys. I'm about to sign off here. You know what time it is. EAGLES. Guys, I got other guys coming up. I am reading your comments, so stick with me, guys. Bear with me. I'm going to get to them one by one, guys. I'm trying to do as many as I can, y'all. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out of here, y'all. Bye.